Morning, Spud here from Spud's Outdoors. Today we're going to talk to you about some soft cab doors, soft doors, vinyl doors. People call them different things. They're lightweight and they give you a good option as far as protection, and these at least you can roll down the windows. I'm going to go over two different kinds, the Seizmik door and the Polaris door. And I don't have both 900s here today, but they're both very similar. Give you the four main differences on your different brands of doors. And the Seizmik door is cheaper. These retail, this is a full-size Ranger, it's a 900. They make them for the 570s, it's a mid-size Ranger with your ProFit cab. And these retail for, I believe it's $680, and the Polaris ones are about $950 for the 900 Ranger. Big differences are where the seal is. On the Polaris door, you're going to find the seal is here. On the Seizmik door, the seal is not attached to the door, it's attached to the inside of the frame. Now, and that's fine, but after a while, years worth of use, whatever, dirt, dust, power washing, this can come loose, it can come off. I mean, you can always re-glue it, but it's something to note. The one on the Ranger goes all the way around the door, stays on there, goes with the door if you take the door off, which is kind of handy that way for washing. But one thing to note about the Polaris parts, I'm not sure if you can get separate pieces with these Seizmik doors. I've got an uncle that's got a big dog and he was hungry. He tore into these, both the top and bottom panel of the doors, and just shredded them. And one thing you can do is you can contact Seizmik, tell them what's going on, what size model you have, and they can get you an upper and a lower piece for about 60 bucks, and they ship it to you. 60 bucks a piece, you know, the top and the bottom, two separate pieces. But you can replace them. So if your windows get scratched or something happens, shit happens, you can get it replaced, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. So that's one major point I wanted to share with you. And the big thing that I notice about these doors, I want to point out, is the way the latch is. Now, this works. It's got a decent latch, but they don't hold up as well as the Ranger door. Now you can see it maybe looks a little more chintzy, but you know, it can move, you can adjust it. It's not as fixed as the Ranger door is, but they work. Okay kids, so here's what I'm talking about on the latch. Now note the position of the latch now. It's fully closed, completely latched. This is how you open the door. It's easy enough to do, but if you just close it and you don't get it all the way, it doesn't latch all the way. It's still closed. You can see there's an air gap here in the door. You know, and you gotta fight a little bit to get it latched all the way. And that's where we talked about the movement earlier of everything. Changes how this will hook into the latch. You slam her good. You can see there that it's latched nice. And, you know, it doesn't take much of an extra step to do that. But if you got somebody that's not familiar with the Ranger, not familiar with the doors, and they just hop in, they half latch it like this, you know, if you're bouncing around going down a field road or something, this could potentially unlatch. And then of course the wind takes the whole door, blows it wide open, and then when it hits the box, it can bend, and that's no fun. But something I wanted to show you about the latch, because the Polaris latch I feel like is a little bit better. Like I said, these work, but it's kind of one of them things, you get what you pay for. Okay, now I want to show you how this window rolls up, and one thing I like about it. The Seizmik door has got this neat little flapper that you put over the top of the window, so when your arm goes on it, let's say well, it's muddy, there's rocks and mud and dirt and dust. This protects the vinyl from that when you got the window rolled down. When you want to roll it up, you flap that baby down and basically just kind of hold the window in place. Find your zipper. Put everything on the right side. And then run your zipper accordingly. But that's one thing I really like about this flap, is that it stores away nice and handy here. And I suppose if you wanted to jam a set of gloves in there, you sure could. But this protects the window, keeps it out of the way, kind of nice, tucked away, and I think it's a good deal. Again, this is a Ranger XP 1000, as you can see. The door isn't exactly the same, but it's built the same way the 900 version is. Now, this is the window rolled down on the Polaris door. All they've got is this little flap here that holds the window in, so it kind of looks like a mess, you know. It's not great that way. I mean, you can still put your arm, hang your arm out the window and stuff, but it seems a little bit more bulky like this. And then too, if you got mud on your arm or gravel and you put your arm on there, it could potentially scratch it as well. So it just doesn't protect the window like the Seizmik door does. But this is how this one operates. You got your one little snap, you pop loose. This is much the same. Hold your window in place on the inside, and this one has 2 zipper pulls, which is kind of handy depending on, you know, wherever you want to put them. But I think that's a nice option that way. These doors are a little newer, so they're not as sticky as far as the zipper goes, but that's easily fixed with a little bit of beeswax or some kind of zipper lubricant. Polaris 1000, the door is a different shape, but it's built the same way. So again, on the Polaris door, the weather stripping is here on the inside of the door, which works great when you take the door off. The only thing that's left over is the latches, and that's really not much in your way unless you're on a width restraint. But the biggest thing I want you to notice about a soft door option is that if you tot out or we pick a lot of rocks on the farm, we get to the field, the wife and I, we stop, grab your door, go set it out of the way, drive for the day, you know, go pick rocks. You want to move to the next field or come back in the evening and it's cool out. It's nice to grab your door, line up your latches, top and bottom, slap it on, away you go. The Polaris latch on the outside is a little nicer. It's lockable. This is metal, it's not plastic. So here on the Polaris door, again, here's the latch. It's a little bit nicer, and I know this is for a 1000, but I know the latch is very similar. I don't know if the handle's exactly the same, but I'm trying to give you a little bit of a comparison on the latch system on the Ranger, basically here, and how that pin works. It's a bigger pin, it's a little bit stronger that way, but the latch works a little bit better. It closes nicer, it doesn't take as much adjustment to get to where it works good, and it's more solid. You can't wiggle this guy around like you could the Seizmik door. So that I think is a plus over the Seizmik door, and the way it latches. And it's much nicer and easier. I mean, you can still half latch, so there still is that potential for the door to fly open, but again, if you got a rider coming with you, just take a glance over there. As long as it's latched good, you're just fine. This is what the inside of the door looks with the window rolled up. Here's your cute little button strap that's kind of chintzy, but there you have it. And there's the 900. You can see that the window's not quite as big on the Seizmik, but the Polaris want to be a little bit bigger. So you got a better visual on the bottom, which is kind of a nice point. But the Seizmik doors don't fit as perfect, and you can do a good job at making them seal, but you can see daylight. That's one of the reasons I parked it in the shed, so you can kind of tell. Here it's not quite perfectly tight. And towards the back, usually you've got a bit of a gap. And that's something you can play with. One thing in Seizmik's directions is they say that you can bend the doorposts or the framework to get that to be a tighter fit. Okay guys, so your main points on your difference between your Seizmik and your Polaris vinyl soft doors. Your latch, Polaris is better. They got stronger latch made out of steel. It's also lockable, keeps the honest ones out, which is always nice. And the hardware is a little bit more robust. It's a little thicker than the Seizmik, flimsier. We break in these before. This wiggles and moves. The windows, the way they zip down, Seizmik wins with their panel in here. I like that. Works better. It's good. The door latch, the seal, that's your preference. I like that the Polaris, when you take the door off, the seal goes with the door, keeps it safe with the door. Here, it can get pulling off of the cab, and you might have to glue it back on. Not a huge deal, but that way this makes it easy to replace these panels. If you go tear into the woods and poke a hole in one, it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to replace it. That's handy. And your price point. These doors, the Seizmik kit, for the full-size Ranger is $680. That's what it says on the website anyway, at Seizmik. And Polaris, on their website, they show $950 for the 900 soft cab doors, the kit. So now you can make up your own mind on what you want to do. Most of all, have fun. Thanks.